Have I ever abused Darius for elo? Not this season. Hi there, my name's Dahua. How do you deal with Darius? He is tanky, he is a good duelist, even if you shut him down, he's still a huge threat. His ultimate is a reset and it fucking deals true damage, like come on. Currently, Darius has the 4th highest ban rate in League of Legends. This champion has been super frustrating for a really long time. But if you look at high elo, you'll see that very few players actually care about Darius. In fact, there's not a single Darius player in Challenger in NA, EU, or Korea. And Darius almost never gets banned in high elo. So how do you deal with Darius? Darius is essentially a raid boss. Raid bosses are generally much tankier than everyone else, they deal unfair amounts of damage to players, and usually they have a key weakness that you can take them down with. Darius players have the same mentality as raid bosses. Raid bosses are generally controlled by scripts that have already been written. What do Darius players and these scripts have in common? Both of them do not require, thinking. Neither of them require any kind of thinking. Darius players are always on autopilot. That's why they're playing Darius. So, how do you deal with Darius? One of the most effective ways of dealing with Darius is through early game ganks. Darius has no mobility, no hard CC, and he is very vulnerable to early jungle pressure. But you can't consistently rely on junglers all the time. So what can you do in lane to out-trade him? Darius' biggest strength is also his biggest weakness, and that is his passive. Once you get 5 stacks of his passive, he will gain anywhere from 30 AD all the way up to 200 AD. That's anywhere from 3 long swords all the way up to 5 BF swords. If Raid Boss Darius gets 5 stacks, he has essentially entered into his final form. And in every Raid Boss's final form, they do unfair amounts of damage. A lot of players assume that they can't beat Darius in the early game because of his passive. There are actually a large number of champions that can beat Darius in the laning phase, but not in the same way that other champions beat others in 1v1s. The way that you beat Raid Boss Darius in lane is not by all-inning him at full HP. You have to be able to chip away at this boss bit by bit, down from 100% to 80 to 60, until you reach a point where you can kill him before he can actually make use of his passive. Essentially, go for really short trades. Darius is not a good short trader. He has no mobility whatsoever, and so long as you're able to avoid his pull, he can't really trade back with you very effectively. This is why highly mobile champions like Riven and Renekton are so good against Darius. Because these champions are very good at going in and out, poking Darius for damage, and then backing off and waiting for more opportunities to harass him. Because they can make these quick, short in and out trades against Darius, you can make strong, short trades to chip away at him before all-inning him and bursting him down before he can enter his final form. Now, when you're trading with a Darius, it's very important to think about how he can get to 5 stacks. Darius's pull guarantees him 1 auto attack. When he auto-attacks you, he's going to follow it up with a W to reset his auto-attack. That's 2 stacks. After that, he's in a decent position to Q you. Essentially, if he gets a pull on you, he's guaranteed at least 3 stacks. Now, just like in a real raid boss fight, there are phases in which the raid boss is extremely weak. Darius also has such phases. They're called his cooldowns. If Darius uses either his Q or his E, he is extremely vulnerable. One of the best things you can do if you want to play well against Darius is learn the range of his abilities. Most of the time, Darius players will try to Q you when you go for minions. Instead of taking the minion and taking the Q, make it look like you're going for the minion, but instead back off and make him waste his Q. When Darius's Q is down, that is a 9 to 7 second window in the early game where you have a very good shot at winning a trade. Darius's Q is all about the axe. If you get hit with the handle of Darius's Q, you will take 35% less damage and not even get a stack. That is about the same amount of damage as a simple auto attack. Now, what about team fights? How should you play against Darius in team fights? One of the biggest reasons that Darius is so hated in low ranks is because it requires a lot of teamwork to be able to properly shut Darius down. Just like in a regular raid, if one moron on your team fucks things up, your entire team goes down. And that is probably Darius's most hated aspect. Darius players that are behind generally do not do that much less damage than Darius players that are ahead, simply because of the fact that most Darius players just build straight tank after they finish Black Cleaver. The reason that most of them build straight tank is because they just care about surviving long enough in order to get to their final form. It's all about that final form. So as a result, even if a Darius is 0-3, 0-5, 1-7, if he gets a reset, if he gets a dunk, he can just destroy half of your team. The way that you handle Darius in a team fight is you have to focus him as a team. No matter what you do, you cannot ignore Darius. Darius builds essentially full tank, but he is not like any other tank. If a Darius player who's behind gets into his final form, it won't matter. He will still dunk all over your team. Fortunately, like regular raid bosses, Raid Boss Darius also has a set move. And that move is just run at you and try to pull you. Darius is one of the most kiteable champions in League of Legends. He has no slow resistances, no tankiness from his build other than a heal, no speed ups of any kind, and no real hard CC. The only thing he has is a pull and a flash. Darius is kind of like a Dragon Ball Z character. It takes him a little while to power up, but if you let him power up, he's gonna fuck you up.